Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, how are you? As we start off another week here. And let's say hello to a few friends. And Mike, you're number one today. You and, Andrea snuck in number two. Let's see if Brahim makes it to the top three. Nope. Karen, Kincardine, Kerry, Nebraska, Eric, salut, Ottawa, Rita, bonjour, and April, good morning to you, and Mary from Norwich, Chantal, Ottawa, and Lori and Ryan in Sarasota, Florida, Donna, Park Hill, Gloria, good morning, Yolande, bonjour, and Deb from Motown. And Wendy, good morning. Markham. And Gertie, Burlington. Yvonne, how are you? And Sandra from Aurelia. And Nick from our staff. Jeanette, how you doing? And Suzanne. And Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Doc McEwen. West Tennessee, Micheline, Sandy, Ibrahim, where are you? Kevin, Oshawa, Bruno, good morning. And Jeanette, good morning to you. Marilyn from Kelowna, bright and early this morning. Sue, how is you? Linda, those Linda from Pennsylvania. Babita, how are you from Brampton? Lori, Niagara Falls, Shelley, and Mary from PEI, Patricia, Calgary, Alberta, Marlo, how are you from Ottawa? Carol, nice to have you on this morning. Couple of more guys. Jean from Peterborough, Judy from Manitoba, Cheryl from Prince George, and Fran, and Helga, and Linda, New Brunswick, Anna, Caledon, Doris, Kitchener, Kathy, Simcoe, and Rita, New Brunswick, and Karen, Peterborough. Okay, guys, thanks for coming on. Sherry from Fergus, Milika, Stouffville, Diane Zell, is that from the Philippines? Yes. Gary from Bolton. And Denise, good morning. Okay, guys, let's get back to these questions, okay? Question and answer Monday. Let me just, I was reading an article before we do the questions, okay? Question and answer Monday, because I didn't get to them all. Hold on here. Let me get my iPad opened so I can look at this. Okay. Reading an article on statin drugs, okay? And guys, if you want to talk about bang for your buck, I don't know if there's anything or any failure in the medical industry that I can think of that's been worse than the statin drugs. Every year, heart disease goes up. The prescriptions for statins go up, but heart disease goes up. People are walking around with low cholesterol because statin drugs work, okay? I don't say they're not working. They're working. They're lowering cholesterol. Whoopie doopie. So what? If it was only working, if lowering cholesterol was at the root of heart disease, we would have one of the greatest success stories in medicine. Let me give you an example. Were antibiotics a great success story? Well, for sure. They've saved millions and millions of people's lives. Okay? Now, there's a double-edged sword to antibiotics. We've overused them. And, you know, we know so much more now about the microbiome and what antibiotics do to the microbiome. Well, we didn't know that, you know, 100 years ago when antibiotics came on the scene. But it's been a tremendous success nonetheless, right? But statin drugs, heart disease has got worse. And like I said, people are going around, they got low cholesterol, and that's not a good thing. And again, I would just go over, this was an article published by a cardiologist, by the way. And he was talking about the bang for the buck, like just saying, wow, what's happening in our world? Why isn't heart disease a thing of the past? If cholesterol was the problem, well, it should be, you know, the rates of heart disease should be going down and down and down on a yearly basis. But it's the opposite of that. It's like taxes. They're going up all the time. You know? Taxes aren't going down, they're going up. Death rates in heart disease are going up. Every year. It's the #1 killer. Okay, so he said in this article, he wrote four things about side effects. And I'm not telling you not to take a statin drug. You know I can't do that, and I won't do that. I'm providing information. #1 is the link and statin-induced, and of course, I'm just reading off the article from the cardiologist. Statin-induced diabetes, especially in women. 50% of women that take a statin drug get diabetes. And the problem is with statin medications, they affect insulin's ability to work properly. Now, you might take that as something you could accept if it was getting rid of heart disease. But I'll tell you something, friends, and something that you guys know better than most, is that insulin is the biggest problem in heart disease. So they're giving a medication that affects insulin. It's one of its side effects. And insulin is the biggest problem in heart disease. Insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome. That is at the root of heart disease, not cholesterol. #1, diabetes-induced statin therapy. 2, muscle wasting. Jeepers, I thought the heart was a muscle. Myopia, and I'll give you a long name, rhombolyathiasis, which is destruction. Myopathy is muscle wasting, and rhombolyathiasis is, destruction of muscle. Man, your heart's a muscle. Boy, I used to see that in the office a lot. Cognitive. Well, of course, cognitive. Your brain is made up of cholesterol. Your brain makes cholesterol. And you need cholesterol as fat absorbing vitamins like vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, not exercise, the other one, vitamin K. Those are fat soluble vitamins. They're often deficient in people taking statin therapy. They don't know it. Nobody's told them. CoQ10. That's well documented. You get low on CoQ10. Your mitochondria don't work properly. Your battery packs in your body, in your brain. You got a lot of battery packs up here and a lot of battery packs in your heart. Those are the two places where you have the most battery packs. In your brain, it makes sense, right? Because that's the energy center of your body. And yet statin drugs destroy CoQ10. Well established. And then the link, and this doctor was saying, this cardiologist was saying, the link in neurological, again, going back to the nervous system and those neurotransmitters and the link between statins and ALS. You know what, folks, ALS, you never heard of ALS in the 70s. I mean, it was around, but you never, I mean, I'm telling you, if you didn't study it in a textbook, it wasn't because you saw it. Now, today, ALS and Parkinson's, and I'm not saying it's only statins. I'm just saying there's a connection. Well, this doctor's saying it. Cardiologist. Okay, let's get to some questions. I just thought I'd bring it up because I read it and I was getting a migraine reading it. Okay, let's go. Lori, do babies need to start solids at 6 months? No, not if mommy is breastfeeding. Okay? Not if mommy is breastfeeding. I know mummies that breastfed babies for about 18 months, if I'm not mistaken. Okay? Mummy's milk got everything they need. Okay? Everything they need in the first, especially the first. I used to try and encourage mummies to breastfeed at least for about, because I don't want to get into the, for just some women, they found it hard, or they weren't producing milk, or they are very little, and there was a lot of problems. And I said, well, look, if you can, one thing the baby gets in those first 4 weeks is colostrum. Okay? Colostrum. You need that. And lactoferrin. Mummy's milk. Okay? So, okay. And what foods are the best to start with when, with the solids? What foods are the best? Well, you might have to, I don't necessarily like pureeing, but, if you're starting them pretty young, you might look at that and, pureeing some solid foods. Once they can start eating, eggs, meat, and cheese, whichever way you can give it to them. Okay. Good questions. Priscilla, why is it that some people have the opposite effect of a supplement? Well, look, Priscilla, put your thumb up. Okay? Got your thumb up? Okay. You got a fingerprint there that's different than the other 8 billion. Now we're at 8. So when you want to know how much was May of 2023, the world's population hit 8 billion. Okay? Put your fingerprint up, or your thumb, and you got a different fingerprint than everybody else, okay? You have to understand, Priscilla, okay? When I talk in generalities. I have to, okay? And everybody's different. Now, you're saying that the cortisol seems to have the opposite effect on me. Give me a little bit of detail to that. Meaning that you get even more anxious when you take it or whatever? Look, cortisol is in that formula. I mentioned it to you the other day, okay? There's nothing like that formula. Go anywhere, look anywhere, and you'll never get a cortisol formula like the one we formulated. And I mean that. And I mean, for the results we get, look at the five-star ratings of that. Look at the testimonies of that. But in clinic, I can tell you, there was nothing like it. People wanted to choke me when I'd run out of it. Okay? But Priscilla, everybody's different. Some people, they drink water and they don't do well. Like, what? Yeah. Okay? But everybody needs water. Okay? Everybody. They need that vitamin W. Everybody. And some people, I don't do well with water. You don't? You're weird. Now, Priscilla, I didn't say that about you. Okay? But everybody's different. Okay? Everybody's different. It's a good question. And if that supplement isn't for you, then, can you take, okay, let's say you have anxiety and you were taking, or for sleep, you were taking cortisol, because thousands and thousands of people every day take cortisol for their anxiety, or they're taking cortisol because they can't sleep and it helps them. Thousands. Now, if you're having trouble sleeping, Priscilla, and cortisol is not helping you, then you want to look at alternatives. I like magnesium. I'm big on magnesium. Always have been. And you might look at citrate is very good for sleeping. So is biglycinate. And you might look at just taking magnesium. You might take a hot bath with magnesium salts, Epsom salts. Okay, so you've got to figure that out, Priscilla, but that's the answer generally, because everybody is unique. Okay, that's the word I was looking for, not weird, unique. You're fearfully and wonderfully made, Priscilla. Okay, you have your own DNA. Nobody's got your DNA, nobody. Just you. Okay. Okay. Sally, if DIM is good for estrogen, and it is, and it's made from cruciferous vegetables, is the reset good to stay on long term if I'm concerned about my estrogen? That's a good question. Sally, I love you, okay? Because you're smart. You're asking good questions. My audience, I love that. Okay, look, first of all, it's an extract. DIM is an extract, okay, from cruciferous vegetables, okay? Now, you get some DIM effect from flax seeds. That's why I allow flax seeds on the reset. And remember, the reset is 30 days. Now, some people, let me give you another way to look at it, okay? Because I like what you're asking, Sally. Let me tell you this. People that are on, go back, women that are on the reset, you know what they find? Almost universal. They don't have as much trouble with their hormones like estrogen. Look, estrogen is a wonderful, wonderful hormone. Okay? You need a lot of it, and men need less of it. They want testosterone. But women, it's a balance between estrogen and progesterone. It's balance. Otherwise, you're out of whack. And DIM lowers your estrogen. But if you just eat broccoli, okay, which is a cruciferous vegetable, that's not going to lower your estrogen. It won't. Because this is an extract of that. You'd have to eat about 20 pounds. Are you going to do that? To get the effect of a DIM capsule? You can't. It's like a probiotic. Well, I'm just going to eat yogurt, or I'm going to have some fermented food like sauerkraut or whatever. Wonderful. I like that. But therapeutically, a probiotic, you'd have to eat 16,000 4-ounce yogurts. And even then, you wouldn't get a broad spectrum probiotic. So you see what I'm saying, Sally? Yeah, look, don't worry. If you're on the reset, by missing out on eating broccoli. Listen, I like broccoli. I do. I got a grandson named Brock, and I call him Broccoli. I love broccoli. No, I do, though. Okay, people think, Dr. Martin, you don't like vegetables? Of course I love vegetables. I like fruit and vegetables. All I tell people is don't live on that. You're not meant to live on fruits and vegetables. You have 3 kingdoms of food. Okay? You like that? I should actually write a book because I like, I've written about it in books, but you have 3 kingdoms of food. You have the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, fruits and vegetables, and you have man's kingdom of food. Processed food made by man. Okay? And if you live with animal and plant, in the plant and animal kingdom, you ain't going to have much trouble. The trouble is that man-made, including high fructose corn syrup. Nobody ever got really sick just eating eggs, meat, and cheese and some fruits and vegetables. Okay? I don't care if you have some fruit. Eat it. Don't drink it. But I'm not against it. People think I'm against it because they lasso me to the 30-day program. Well, no, it's a 30-day program. Now, I've got people eating the Reset Like for years and years and years, 10, 15, 20 years. They were diabetics. They were carboholics. And they feel so good without or very few carbs. They don't eat a lot of carbs. And you don't need a lot of carbs. Okay? But to answer your question, Sally, yeah, it comes from an extract of broccoli, DIM. And it's a very unique process to get the right type of DIM. But like I said, you can't replace it by eating broccoli. I like broccoli and it's good for you. But you can't, to lower your estrogen with broccoli. Now, what's better, DIM is great, and flax seeds, because flax seeds have 100 times more lignans in them than any other seed or nut. And they actually help to block extra estrogen. That's why I like them. That's why I allow them on the reset. Okay? Thanks for the question, Sally. I appreciate it. Lise, is there any way of stopping degenerative disc disease? Well, look, you can slow it down. Okay? Now, I've had a few injuries in my life, okay? I don't like to look at my x-rays of my neck. I was in a car accident, 1976, I think. 75, 76. And I had a lot of degeneration in my neck. And I don't like looking at x-rays because it gets me negative, okay? And not that I haven't looked at x-rays in my life. I've looked at tens of thousands of them. Now, also in that, I had a low back degeneration between L5 and S1, a little bit L4. But you know what? One of the keys is to stay in shape. One of the keys is to get strong. I always talk about the importance of muscle and muscle building. Even in degenerative disc disease, you have to compensate, okay? It's not that your discs, there will be some regeneration. I've proven that even on my own x-rays, that, but when you look at it, you go, oh, you must be in a lot of pain. And I go, nah, not really. And I love an anti-inflammatory diet, which is eggs, meat, and cheese. I love our inflammation formula. Ooh, I hope it comes back soon. I love curcumin. I love Navitol, pine bark extract. And I'm big on vitamin D. Vitamin D is a healer of the bones with K2. Okay? And eat your cheese and butter. You'll get a lot of vitamin K2. Very, very good for disc degeneration. Joanna, curious what Dr. Martin thinks about AG1 greens. It has a B1 vitamin thiamine as a synthetic part of it. Well, look, I don't mind the AG1 greens. I'd rather you eat it than a supplement. Look, thiamine, some people say the synthetic version of B1 is better. I don't know. I'm not convinced of that. But I can tell you something, okay? Because it could be a labeling issue too. That in Canada, even green tea, the extract, they say it's synthetic when it's not. But that's what you got to put on the label because of Health Canada. They got some weird rules. And it could be just that, Joanna, okay? Jean or Jean, or, Jean or Jean. I don't know. I think it's Jean. Okay? Why on your bone broth powder does it say you can take it with water, juice, or milk? I thought water and juice were no. Okay. And that's a good question, Jean. Let me tell you why, okay? You have to understand that, first of all, Health Canada has rules for labels, okay? Very strict, okay? Especially on supplements. Very strict labeling, okay? Now, you have to understand, okay, that in Canada, and, probably in the United States for some labeling issues too, it'll tell you, you can add this. You can't just say on a label. In Canada, you can't do it. You can't say, never use juice, because Dr. Martin says so. Or don't use milk, because Dr. Martin doesn't like milk. Okay, you can't put that on a label. Okay? And that's why you guys listen to this program. Okay? Because I don't want you to drink juice. If you're going to eat fruit, don't drink it. Okay? So when it tells you can put bone broth in juice, that's labeling laws in Canada. Okay? Just understand that, Gene. Okay? It's not me. Oh, I had a senior moment and I wrote that on the label. Okay? I didn't do that. I didn't do that. Okay? It wasn't me. Okay? It's laws. And they're, like I said, I don't agree with all the laws of Health Canada, but you better follow them. You got no choice. Okay. Gee, I love that. What supplements should you take for 10 to 20% fracture risk? Well, the biggest one would be vitamin D with vitamin K2. Okay? Vitamin D, Deborah, with vitamin K2 would be the best for your bones. K2 works, first of all, by putting calcium where it belongs, in your bones. Okay? And vitamin K2 also works to keep your bones strong. Vitamin D helps you to produce bone, regenerate bone. Okay? K2 puts that bone and keeps it in the right place. You don't want calcium in your arteries. You want calcium in your teeth and your bones. Okay? That's why we add K2 in our vitamin D. Okay? Now, bone broth is good for your bones. And it really is. And your skeletal system. And you guys know me. One of the best supplements you can take for your bone quality is vitamin E. Exercise. And especially get strong. Thank you very much. And Andrea's asking, can you take too much K2? I guess so, but I've never seen it. I guess you could. It's a fat-soluble vitamin. I guess maybe, but I've never seen it once. Not ever. I've been around in natural health for 50 years. Never saw a case of it. Okay? It's just like vitamin D. Okay? Every physician I know is worried about too much vitamin D. Boy, they pound that into you. They pound that into you. And yet, I always ask, have you ever seen a case of it? Has anyone ever died from taking too much vitamin D? Nope. Not in recorded history. And yet it gets vilified. Yet it's the boogeyman. Yet in medical schools, the only vitamin they learn about is vitamin D, and they're negative on it. Rather than, holy moly, this is the greatest vitamin ever. The sun. It's good for everything. It'll keep you on the planet longer. But they vilify it. And good luck trying to change it. Good luck trying to change it. Okay? It's unreal. Okay, let me see there. I think we're getting there. Andrea was asking that because her daughter was recommended to take a high dose of vitamin D3. Well, you make sure she's taking our vitamin D3 and it has the perfect amount of vitamin K2 with it. Perfect amount. Okay. Jerry, can you speak about the irisin hormone? Is there truth that specific exercises activate the hormone to lose weight and belly fat? No. Wow. Look, you are never, okay? Never can you out exercise or out supplement for belly fat. The key is food. The key is insulin. The key is cortisol. Now, indirectly, when you exercise, you're really helping to lower cortisol, unless you do too much of it. So indirectly, yes, but not because, look, I've read about that hormone. How do you say it again? I get tongue-tied with some of these hormones. Irisin. I'm more worried about insulin. Insulin is the key because insulin will affect your leptin and your ghrelin. I work around those, and I'm big on food. Huge on food. Now, you're going to help insulin resistance when you exercise. There's no doubt about that. Okay? But you can exercise till the cows come home. And you bet, and if you don't fix insulin, and you don't fix cortisol, because cortisol, we talked about that all last week, about cortisol and belly fat. Is it belly fat? What was it? Is it a sugar belly or is it a stress belly? I enjoyed that. Did you guys? Okay. Thanks for the question, Jerry. Bettel, or is it Betty Lynn? In the Eat Fat, Get Lean cookbook, some recipes have almond flour. I thought almonds were high in oxalates. Yeah, they are. Look, okay, and it's a good question, and we thank you for it, Betty. I'm going to say Betty Lynn. Look, we don't live in a perfect world. If you want to make some recipes, you got to have flour. Okay? Okay? If you want some of these treats in there, is almond, it's a lower carb. Yeah, you don't want to be living on it because it is high in oxalates, okay? And maybe you guys have a better idea there. Anyways, I get asked that a lot. Thanks for the question, Betty Lynn. Okay? See, you're asking me stuff that I like because you guys are thinking. Did I do this just last week? Yeah, ashwagandha. I think I did. It's in your cortisols. Oh, yeah, I did that. Okay. We got through it, guys. Question and answer Monday. And Wendy is going, coconut flour is better. Yeah, you can use coconut flour. No doubt about it. Okay. Guys, I got to breathe again. Okay, we love you guys dearly. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. If you can watch live, we appreciate that. If not, can you just tell your friends and family and your acquaintances about the podcast the doctor is in on their, anywhere where they can listen to podcasts, they can get the Doctor Is In podcast. Thanking you for making it the #1 health show program in Canada. #1. That's you guys. Okay? We love you. Talk to you soon.